All right. Yes. Okay. The teachers keep on teaching. Zach is very excited. Teachers love to teach. Give it up for the teachers during the round table. Come on up, teachers. Honestly. You guys poured your hearts out. Sandy just left, but it is fairly exhausting, okay, when you do this exercise because, and I'm not trying to, it is what it is, but I know that it can be very exhausting and draining, going from table to table and this conversation. And so I meant for you guys to come up, actually. So, yeah. The CTA is come to the front of the room. Yeah, and...
Hear it 7 times.
And, yeah, 7 times. And do I have to have a pizza box that I open and wear a funny thing, too, for pattern interrupt? Is that what I have to do?
I'm brain dead at this point.
Thank you. Yeah. So let's go a little more in the middle here. So this round table it's quite a deal to go around and just have to keep mentally shifting your gears. And as I reflect and look at the trainers, they are pouring out not just what they know in their head, but they're pouring out their heart and their soul into it. And so I want to recognize our trainers who are doing the round table. And to the live streamers, welcome. We are at the end of our 3 days. 3 days, and we're going into day 4 tomorrow with the e-commerce masters intensive, for which the Spanglers are going to be here tomorrow, along with Terry, who is now flying. Tina, who's flying out from Denver, who had gotten snowed in, and she will be here tomorrow as well. So you guys have a full day tomorrow yet, day 4. It's going to be fun. And I'm there day 5 to meet with them after they've been through the 1-day intensive. So I'm not flying out till Tuesday, so I'm kind of making this my home, I guess. Anyways, so I really want to give thanks. Zach, you're brand new here. And you just got, you got thrown in the fire. And you were spectacular. And I really appreciate the knowledge, the energy, and the enthusiasm that you bring. I took a lot of photos where you were there and then you had 5 people behind you. And I'm like, yeah, those pictures I love. Justin, give it up for Justin with his web knowledge. Wasn't that awesome to have Justin with all those tech issues? Dr. Josie, give it up for Josie with all her wisdom and experience. And of course, our executive director of training and coaching, Brian Cummings. And Brian heads up, pulls this all together. It used to be me who did that, and I don't do that role anymore. Yes. So, yes, I love it. So I'm really impressed with these guys. They really did a fabulous job, and you guys can rest and relax. But I do want to say that when I'm at the tables, I'm just so intrigued by what I can pick up from you guys. So I want you guys to go sit back and relax. I told Josie, I said, this is going to be chill time now, Josie. You can just chill and relax. So, all right, you guys can have a seat. Thank you so much.
Wine's back there.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's break out the wine. Talk to Sharon about that one. She does wine runs. Okay. So what we like to do when we end an event, and this has been long, right? 3 days. It's been pretty intensive, right? Oh, yep, I'm looking at someone who's got a big smile. We'll be talking about Christine in a moment. But all to say, what I really like doing the roundtable is I get to hear back from you guys. So I took some notes. I'd like to share with you some things that I learned and picked up from you guys. And then what we do is this, come to the mic, which we did a little taste of on Saturday morning. But now you've been here for 3 full days. And this is just kind of this time to just relax and then just share whatever you feel, any kind of turning point, breakthrough, insight, something that touched you, meant a lot to you. And it doesn't even have to be like it was all tactical information right here. It could be new friendships formed, and we had lunch with so-and-so and we learned XYZ. Anything and everything that just really helped in your business this weekend and in your life. Okay? So I started over here, and I'm not going to say I have notes at every table, But this one was kind of cool. So is Cindy here still? So this came from Don and Cindy. She's asleep. I get it. I can understand that. What I thought was so cool, so they are in the EMP mastermind group, and they're going through their process. And was it last night you had your discussion and breakthrough about, now don't forget, we're going to write up an SOP. And there was a little bit that sprung out of that I'm like, that is cool. So Zach, I want to make sure I say goodbye to you before you leave. Do you leave here at 4:30? Okay, so Brian, maybe you can take over at a point so I'll do my little notes here and then I can hand it over to you for a little bit so I can say goodbye to Zach. Thank you. Appreciate that. They are going to do an SOP. Do you guys remember what he suggested? A swap. An SOP swap that as peers in their e-commerce masters program mastermind group is as they create SOPs within their business, they can share. And I think we all know, you might modify off of Susie Q's. Or, Amber, you were talking about you checked in with Martha's numbers. Like, what? And you learned a lot that she only scans or looks for 1% rank and above or below. Anyways, so I thought that was a pretty cool idea that just speaks to the power of a network of peers that you share your SOPs, standard operating procedures. We use all these acronyms. I had to be careful about that. I'm also really excited because they are going to kick off a YouTube channel. And that sounded really, really awesome. He talked about his show Bible, which is kind of like the whole breakdown of how you're going to roll out a YouTube event, so to speak, as a husband-wife team. And we have a couple that, through EMP, Karen Titus and her husband, and they do it there in the craft area, and they are just rocking it. And she's done extremely well by doing a Facebook Live every Saturday morning. So that was pretty fun and exciting there. Someone here shared about flylady.net. That was you, right, Carol? And flylady.net does what?
They help you to get your life organized, and she suggests certain days to run errands. We were talking about blocking time and that sort of thing. And the thing that FLY stands for finally loving yourself. So she promotes self-love and taking care of yourself, taking time for you.
Yeah, that was awesome. So flylady.net. I thought that sounded kind of cool. And then over at this table here, we found out that said Gen Xer, are you a Gen Xer? Is that what? Yeah, you're like, I don't know. They keep throwing labels on me. She said, we were born to multitask. We were born to multitask. And the challenge that, like Kate was saying, she can just be watching that and doing this. And Chrissy's like, I can't do that. I can only focus and, and that whole thing. And that's when Kate said, well, we were born to multitask. And the point being that it really does help if you can integrate young people into your business, and however, because they just know a lot and more adept at a lot of things that we're just not. So I think that's really smart. I also realized out of this group, I thought, now this is getting to be an interesting phenomenon, all the family businesses. And I don't know if that'll develop to such a level that, maybe that's a special Saturday morning live. I think we've done it somewhat to an extent before, but how many of you, including having a spouse, have what you would call a family business because you're integrating members of your family? Okay. About 60% of you in the room, 70 maybe. And I think that's really fascinating. And maybe there's something there in the future. I don't know what, but I definitely want to support it and help facilitate that because, sometimes it's the communication between the two generations and who knows? It's just got me a little bit intrigued. One that really stood out, and this will go to the director of training and coaching, something as a need that was kind of fascinating. This is from Christy, and maybe that was somewhat came out of last night's deal, but I really see it because it's been happening in our company more, is what do you track? And how do you measure your tracking? How do you know what's important? And what do you do from the tracking? I mean, numbers. So for example, we're now using a software called Agora Pulse for our social media efforts. And David he sends us end of day for one, an EOD report to me, Lisa, and Kurt. David is now our content project manager. I think most of you know my son, David, from customer support. David Sieg, that's my son. And now we shifted him because he was really on fire with his interest in content expansion. And that's unique when you find someone on fire and you want to feed into that. And it was something that we are very dedicated to. Anyway, so he sends this report. It was the first one at the end of his first week. It was about 12 minutes. I mean, for me, it was mind-blowing, and I'm just all excited from it. And it was the data. When he was showing the data, and data then can better direct me how to use my time and efforts more wisely based off the data. So I think we need to teach and train more on data. And I said, we struggle. I mean, we bought Wicked Reports as a tracking site. I couldn't even tell you what it does. Lisa would know. But all to say that this tracking data and knowing then what do you do with that data? How do you interpret it? Because I'm constantly looking at data. What's the show up rate? What's the closing rate? Okay, let's throw in this little test then based off of that. And I'm always asking for data. So I think we need to teach more. This is for me and the personnel at ABS, more on data and how do you utilize it to your benefit. Okay, so that came out. Oh yeah, more training on numbers. Let's see, what else do I have here? Knowing the numbers, reports, how often. That was from Kirsty. Oh, then managing your lifestyle came up quite a bit at this table. Just looping back at that was, for people who work full-time, or even here with Carol, she runs a full-time business while trying to do the e-com on the side, and yours are very CEO directed and related, which I really appreciated. We're peers in that we're cross-industry, and it's a really, like Carol astutely said, I think was it you or someone else said, love you, Josie, but yeah, 20 minutes a day, get my business running down to that. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of with you, Carol. And so that whole interplay of, or working with other CEOs who are running companies and having that, with a bigger staff and all, and the needs that there are to help take care of the CEO and that whole lifestyle aspect. Because that came up about 3-4 people at this table. I don't know how many of you have those issues, not issues, but how do you deal with that? So that was really helpful for me to see and to hear how important that need was, the whole lifestyle part. And maybe we'll do a Saturday morning live on that. I can't remember anything specifically here per se. Kathleen just arrived from Costa Rica after flying through Boston to see her son and have some fun connection time. And Candida was here. Oh, that's another thing I need to note. Okay. Wow. Talking about the macro and the micro, and I can really quickly tell if someone is at the macro level versus the micro. So over at that table in the back with Judith and Beth, it was very clear that Judith is very much into the micro level. And it was really cool because there was some side mentoring going on with Robert too from Judith. And she's just, here, let me just show you how easy this is. Robert's asking a question, she's showing it. And then there was 5 minutes there between Beth and Judith of that. And I thought, that is so cool. And I think there's a lot of cross-mentoring that's going on. And it's like Kate Curtis said, she's going to be here soon, I believe. She said, you learn differently when you know you're going to be teaching it. And I don't think necessarily Judith was doing this to turn around and teach, but when you have someone ask you, yeah, let me show you. And Candida's name came up a lot as someone who has really, that has shared a lot of what she has done, and that's really helped a lot of people. So I'm really proud of that there's a lot of cross mentorship going on, right? That's pretty cool. Let's see. What do I have here on the next page, or is that it? Okay, I don't have any more notes. So I'm going to bring up a special lady right there with the pink tumbler. Come on up, my dear. So we had a consultation today, and it was really fun, and we I gave Christina a lot of ideas and suggestions. And then I said, you really need to be doing Facebook Lives. And she said, I know, I do. I said, so when is that going to happen? Well, so I was thinking next week, 'cause, I think I'll do it. Yeah. So I think it'll be by Saturday. I said, really? By Saturday, you say? Next week? So something kind of cool happened today. And I asked, I said, I really want to, are you okay if I push you? Yes, I would really like if you push me. I said, then I'm going to push you. Let's go. So maybe you share, and that table, so that's the story of that table right back there. What happened at that table for you?
Well, when I said to Ann, please push me, I didn't expect it to be like right then and there. She said, we're going to do it today after the consult. I was like, okay, all right. But when she came to our table, she says, we're going to do it now. I said, now, really? And then, so she just got on Facebook Live, and I'm watching her how to do it, and I guess it was very encouraging because it wasn't as quote unquote scary as I thought. Because it just this is something I've been pushing off for a long time. But it's not that I'm not being productive with my business, but it's just something that's not, when it's not pressing or it's not urgent, you kind of tend to say, even though it has the huge long-term benefit for the business, but because it's not immediately urgent, I kept pushing it off, and I'm really glad that having that consult with Ann and with her coming to the table and pushing me to kind of just speak into it. And as a matter of fact, we did not just one, we actually did 3. So I was very surprised that, because I think one thing that Ann has said really well was that it came very smooth for me because I know my product. I know it really well because I do weekly presentation to spread the knowledge about the product. But, it's that procrastination with doing it in a different medium, it's probably costing me my business quite a lot in the last few years. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think it's just the biggest takeaway from me for this training is to, just do it. And, I think especially for me, coming from an analytical accounting finance background, to kind of step out of my comfort zone and be a marketer and be comfortable and be confident enough to say, it's okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. The plan doesn't need to be perfect before you take that step. So that's my biggest takeaway, and thank you, Ann, for pushing me. And I actually told her, I promise. And she said, did you say promise? I said, I promise that going back, my first action item is I will commit to submitting my accountability to really say what I'm doing with my business. And I hesitate before in terms of what am I going to write in the accountability report, because really for e-commerce, I'm only doing books. What am I going to say every week? And I ship 100 books and I source 100 books. Right? It became very routine for me. But I think what Ann has told me that was really valuable is that the accountability report is her not just seeing what we're doing with our business and holding us accountable for what we're doing, but it's her giving us really at a high level from a business development perspective and from a strategy perspective. Again, it goes down, it's our business, but having that insight from her experience, I think it's so valuable that we're not leveraging enough. And it could be a chore sometimes, to like Sunday night, you gotta, do that, and what did I do this week? But I think it was Don that has said it. It's really great to really go back and rethink what did you do this week? Did you move forward? Did you move the meter up a little bit? So thank you so much, Ann.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She got exposure on my profile page, my own personal profile page. That was the first one. Then we did my ANSIG page. We did the e-commerce business school, and Don also got her. And so she got mass exposure because she stepped up to the plate. And then everyone was watching her while she was doing her live. One could say that would be the scariest of all, but she was very smooth because she knew her material. I have to hand it off to Brian because I'm going to say goodbye to Zach. And so, Brian, you can have people come up, or if you have your own insights to share, I will be back very shortly.
How much time do you need? You would not have known that Zach was new to our community, would you? No. Unless we had told you that. It was just been knocked out by his training, and what a fit he is for this community. And you know, the gender gap, you know, that age gap there, we were sitting on these chairs and I was looking over at his jeans that were shredded, and I was thinking, maybe I should shred my jeans. I want to be like Zach. Anne picked on Christina. And Christina, can I ask you one other question here? I don't think you need to come up here. But you said, I shipped in another 100 books. I mean, what's significant about that? What could I put on my accountability report? I've just put in another 100 books like I do every week. How many weeks have you done that? How many weeks have you met your goal?
Most of the weeks. I mean, I would say probably 80, 90%. I mean, sometimes because of life circumstances, I might be short a week, but I actually make sure I make it up the following week.
Okay. Is that significant?
So it may not be significant to her that she shipped in 100 books. It's significant that she met her goal again and again for week after week. So there is significance in this, and there's insights, and you can put that in the accountability report. Can I pick on you, Julie? Would you be willing to come up? How many people are struggling? Yeah, give her a hand for just coming up. That's big enough. How many people are struggling with that? I've got so many things to do. The business is complex. And I'm trying my darndest to get it all done. And if I only had a little bit of help. And then how many of you are saying, but I don't know how to hire help, or I'm afraid to hire help. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know what to tell them what to do. Yeah, a few of you, more than a few of you. Okay, would you like to share anything about that?
Sure.
Thank you.
One of my biggest struggles is relinquishing the control of some of the tasks and duties, I think.
Anybody know that?
Yeah. Brian convinced me that I need to just say I'm going to do it, so I do it, and then come up with a plan and decide what exactly to have someone else do for me.
And before you came here, you knew you needed to do it.
Yeah, I know. I've known I needed to do it for a long time.
What stopped you from before doing it to now that you're going to do it? What's the difference?
Hearing everybody else's story and how successful they are when they make that change and make that switch to actually.
Proof of concept.
Yep.
What about that angst inside you?
Hearing how other people had the same struggles and got over it.
Great.
And Brian asked you to commit to say you were going to do it.
It was a yes and no answer. That's all I remember. He didn't let me.
Yeah. So that you want the question here? Yeah. The question, it's really simple. I asked Julie if she was willing.
Yes, that was it.
And when she hesitated, I said, this is yes or no. She said yes. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Thank you so much for being up here. So she was willing to come up too, right? Yeah, that's great. Okay, this is that time where people can just come up and say, hey, you know, I struggled with something and I had a breakthrough, or there was somebody I spoke to and I really appreciated that conversation. Anything that you might like to say, you can give back to somebody here. You can say, applaud me because I had a breakthrough. Whatever you'd like to say. Anybody at all? Okay, here we go. All right. All right. So stand right here.
Okay, so I'm going to go first, and then Sharon and I are going to share our fun story. So yesterday, as of course I knew it needed to happen, we had to rip off that Band-Aid, and it was not pretty. You all witnessed that. But, I woke up this morning with a... No, I actually felt really good, really empowered, and actually it was one of those things where, when you think about things for a long time and you think, I've got to figure this out, and your brain just kind of flutters, and then suddenly, boom, it clicks. And I woke up this morning and knew exactly what I wanted my website to look like. And not only that, I knew it just became crystal clear to me that the areas that I needed to work on, suddenly I just absolutely had a plan on exactly how I was going to work on those to get where I needed to go. It's one of those, I always kid around as fake it till you make it. Well, the funny thing about that story is that if you keep faking it, you're never going to make it. And so it was really... I just need to put that as a priority, as learning those numbers. And so my dear friend Sharon is going to help me with that. And she and I have launched our store.
Right. As of yesterday?
As of yesterday. Yes.
As of today, we had a Facebook
Yep.
connection, 2 of them,
We had,
Two.
people visit us on Facebook today.
all through the training in here.
Yep.
So it works, folks.
Yep. And so today we have not only that, but we've linked all of the sales channels or all of the social media channels. And as soon as we get our GTIN exemption, we're hooking up that sales channel through Amazon. So that'll be exciting. But I also just wanted to say that today, the last 2 days has been great, as it always is. Of course, the trainers are fabulous. But today, I sat there at the table, and each trainer that came helped me with one chunk of the puzzle from, all the things that have been just pulling me down and driving me nuts and not knowing how to fix it. So I thank you. I thank all of you. And I thank the community because they've all been very supportive, and just everybody. And I just can't go on enough. So thank you. I love you all. And did you have anything more?
You said it all. You said most of it. We've been, this joint venture, I think, started just 2 months ago. And I didn't think with my schedule that we would be here this soon. But we set a target date of this weekend to do it, and we did it.
So another business was just born. Do you want to announce the store name?
Sorry. Personalize your party. And it's really personalized, basically favors and things for people who are planning parties. So
And how do they find it?
personalizeyourparty.com. Yeah. So have fun. We're still working out the kinks. Apparently there's a domain issue, but Justin helped us with that today. We were supposed to wait a half an hour, so thumbs up, hopefully. No, still working on that, but it is supposedly live, so fingers crossed.
Thank you, Christy. Thanks, Sharon. Rich?
Yeah, we have the most awesome group. and I just have to admire these guys have just done an incredible job. They said they were going to do it, and they're doing it through all sorts of odds. And but I've had a lot of breakthroughs this weekend myself, figuring out kind of the direction we're going to go, get things done. It's just and sitting next to Candida and seeing. I'll let her speak for herself, but just all sorts of breakthroughs. And this weekend has just been amazing, because we really are in the mode of building a legacy, and made lots of neat new friends and connected with lots of other people. Coming together is just a great thing. So we're all just really on the verge, right? Sometimes it stretches a little bit. Sometimes there's little bumps and rocky things in the road, but then other times you just catch the vision of what it is. And I think for me, the two big takeaways for this weekend are both paid traffic and organic traffic. And I've just learned put all sorts of neat new things in my toolbox. And now it's implementation, accountability, check and adjust. What can I say?
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else want to come up? Yes. Come on. You've been thinking about it. Candida, can I pick on you? Would you be willing to stand by me, next to me as I pick on you? It is his fault, because can I speak about the certification track? Sure. Okay, so Candida and I had a conversation not too long ago, a couple months ago, about certification, something she's interested in. I imagine some of you might be interested in certification as well as becoming a certified trainer. And the question that I would have all for you is, do you see Candida as a mentor? Yes. Yes, I knew that. Had we had fewer coaches up here, she would have been one of the coaches up here the other night. So anything you'd like to say, even as a mentor? Is there something you'd like to say? Or about your path?
I just want to say I'm so grateful that I just had the roundtable with Zach. You guys know I started my POD journey last June, and I did it very quickly. I've had sales, but I haven't had consistent sales. I told Zach to give it to me straight. If my store was terrible, if it sucked, I needed to know. And I said, don't coddle me, don't kid glove me, I want to know. Because I'm going to stop spending the money and the time, and I need to focus on something else. So I was prepared for that answer. Amber and I had this conversation at lunch. I'm this close. He helped me do a few things. I'm this close. And he said, it's not your store, that's not it. I also had a retargeting ad that's been running that I was told don't touch. Shame on me for listening. I was retargeting, the same person was seeing my ad 60 times. So they probably hate me and they will never buy from me. So if you're one of those people, I apologize. But luckily for me, it's a small audience. And so anyways, we've made a few adjustments. Everyone got to watch. And so I'm this close, but I'm not the only one who's this close. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll follow up with that. That was probably the most encouraging time because I had a feeling he was going to say, you need to start from scratch. It doesn't go. It won't convert. It won't, just something. Because I knew something had to be missing. And again, made myself vulnerable. And not only did he like my site, there's a few things he wanted me to tweak and told me that because I did give up on my Facebook ads probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And he just said I was on the right track and that I was almost there. And I know that he doesn't just blow smoke. So I really am encouraged and excited about that. But I wanted to thank all of the coaches and Anne for the concept of check and adjust. Kudos to all the coaches who live by what they teach. Because y'all check and adjust too. And I know you've said you did, but I've seen it lived out. And there are times where, as a community, we all individually may go off the path, or as the business may go off, or maybe it doesn't turn out the way y'all had planned on it working. And I think that everyone can say that the POD, we didn't get there as fast as we would have liked to. So I'm very thankful that y'all internally did a check and adjust, and that Josie and Brian have poured out so many hours with us and found another venue to test to get us back on track and are committed to our success. So I thank you for that.
Dawn, come on up. The right Dawn. That's you.
Yes, I had the name first. Well, when my wife got involved with this, was back last summer. It was not my idea. I didn't want to shop my way anywhere. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. And she got me involved with the Shopify store, and I was just sort of her tech support with that and working with that. And as I was looking at it, I said, actually, this is something I think I would kind of like to do this. But we're just so caught up in the details of so many things. And finally, I told her, I said, look, the only reason I'm involved in this, one, you are. Two, I am here to simplify. Where there's some things we're just not going to do. If I hate it, I'm not going to do it. And so we were today, we still had a lot of things to work out. But yesterday we were doing the SOP. And for me, a light bulb really came on, because being able to, there's something I'd been doing over and over. I'd been making products. And if I were going to tell someone else how to do this, how would I do it? And so I'm writing down all the steps. And as I wrote it, I kept remembering things that, oh no, I'm supposed to include this, and there's supposed to be this. And I was getting so anal about it. And finally I said, well, wait a minute. This is what makes this replicatable. This is what's going to make it possible for me to hand this off to somebody else someday. And even as making the store, doing the YouTube channel, because Cindy had wanted to do a YouTube channel. I've done lots of YouTube. And I said, yeah, I'm all for that. I think that sounds like fun. But to make a show and make something that is replicatable, that is, make something that ultimately somebody else could host it someday. There's even a way to do that. And so we got ourselves exceedingly excited about making this thing, really basically writing our own textbook on what we are doing, so that way we can reach the point where, like Josie, we're working mere minutes a day, or a few hours a week, however you want to do it. We're looking forward to that, because we do want to be owners and not just people who are working for our own business.
Awesome. Thank you, Don. And now the other right, Don. You can both be right, can't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I learned a ton this weekend, and every time I come to these events, I always glean something more and more. And the Facebook ads and stuff that we were going through, and plus reviewing my site as well, I very, very much appreciate that. But one thing that I was humbled by this whole weekend was how many people came up to me and asked me certain things. And it's a reflection on the training that we received. The more you do it, the more you apply, then people start looking at you and saying, well, how did you do that? How did you do that? And like I said, it's very humbling, and I appreciate it very much.
Awesome. So I sat down at that table, and Don was excited to show me what he had just been telling. I think you'd just been telling the previous table, and going through the process of something he developed in his website. And I thought, well, that's really cool that he's put that in, but he's got that automated well. And I've seen you, Don, this weekend light up in a number of different times in sharing a process. I don't know why you've been hiding it, if you have. Yeah, thank you. Who else would like to come up?
Donald. So I bought a fancy, snazzy new tool called the Smooth, or some weird name like that. In fact, is that it right there? Yeah, by Sharon. The Smooth, because my son said, Mom, come on, you got to upgrade here. You got to get snazzier, Mom. And so I bought that, and it was shipped here. But I have had such a humdinger of a time when I do Facebook Lives. And this happened like about a year ago, and I had a really snarky commenter. Hey, lady, why don't you do it in landscape instead of portrait? And I was like, wow, I guess I'm doing this wrong. Lisa, I don't know. What do I do? Because he said more than that. Very nasty. And it's like, really? You're getting all upset just because of that? And so I really took it to heart, and I could not figure out how to do you guys know what I mean? Landscape portrait. So Donald figured it out for me today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no more looking stupid videos, because it's really simple. But I don't know if it would have been another year till I figured it out.
On certain sites when it comes to video, some of them, like when you're doing your personal page and like letting people know stuff, being in portrait is probably a good thing because people are scanning down and they're going past it. The same thing with Instagram being in portrait. YouTube, you always want to be in landscape, but sometimes portrait's okay. So maybe you weren't so bad, Anne.
I appreciate that, because then David, I said, get me my top 10 performing Facebook Lives. And he looks them up on Agora Pulse. And the interesting thing, just in terms of that, is it wasn't about landscape or portrait for that. It was mostly being on my cell phone. And whereas I cheat when I do it from my PC and I use Zoom API interface, but I'm sitting at my boring desk. And I've wondered, and I thought, oh, I know, Ann, you got to get up. And David's like, Mom, just be on your walk, just do normal stuff. You don't realize normal is always in front of my PC, though. And so, anyways, those definitely were lower performing. It's almost all the top performing are just me with the phone, very, very candid. And yeah, no, I hear what you're saying there, Sandy, because that guy, he just was so nasty. And I thought, so it all has to be landscape, but what you're saying makes perfect sense to me. That's right. Nasty isn't right. Anybody else? Oh, Miss Lisa has a request, or is it a reminder. So we love feedback, and this is part of it up here, but you can also do it privately and confidentially through our event survey form. And good, bad, and ugly, we want to hear it all, because we are in a continual quest to be the best that we can be for you guys as we're helping to support your business. So what's the tip on that? Is it a link going out? It's all in their emails as of 4:45. Oh, it's going out in an email? So it probably already went out, because I think it's 4:55 almost. So look for that. So when you're bored at the airport, you're going to be sitting at the airport. If you can just kind of rip through that and let us know. We read through all of them, our entire staff. We really want to know, how do we rate and this, that, and the other thing. And we're always open to feedback of how to better improve. So look for that and do us that big favor. Anything else? Anyone want to come up with any last word? And otherwise, I think we're going to give it a wrap. I do want to give kudos to Justin again, who drove down here from Minnesota. And I know that's a long, nasty drive, because I don't even like it from Bella Vista to Minnesota. It is exhausting. But to make it another stretch down, another 4 hours by yourself. So really, really appreciate it. And I also want to thank Donald and Rich. I was so glad when I heard they were going to be here. It's like, yes, because they really support in helping with that teardown, the setup and the teardown. And these guys are like best buds as a result of this community. So give it up for Rich and Don. Yeah. And also a big thank you to Candida, who we brought on as support, because it is a busy deal, isn't it, Candida? Lots and lots going on. So that was really helpful, just to have someone to help fill in the cracks with how busy and hectic it gets. So you guys are awesome. You all deserve big kudos for your effort to be here. And for me, I really enjoy getting to know you better. I think I've talked to every single one personally, so I really appreciate that time together with you, and we are here to support you on your journey. And you know what? I'll even say I am here to push you. Right, Christina? That pushing, that can be kind of fun. You go, that wasn't so bad at all. I'm glad I didn't wait a whole week agonizing over it, right? So, all righty. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll hope to see you at an upcoming event. Those who are in EMP will be at Ultimate Business Lifestyle in Estes Park in August. Yeah, yep. People love Estes Park. And are there any other announcements you can think of, Brian? Okay, alrighty. Well, safe travels, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us, and go out and do really great things. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.